What if I told you that one of history's mightiest warrior kings, a man whose very name roared with valor, met a fate more chilling than any battlefield could unleash? Richard the Lionheart, revered as a lion among men, was not merely a king but a legend whose courage set the medieval world ablaze. Yet, behind the glittering tales of his conquests lies a haunting saga of betrayal, captivity, and a grim reckoning that reshaped his legacy forever. This is no simple tale of royalty. It's a profound journey through human frailty, unyielding ambition, and the relentless grip of fate. Join me as we unravel the epic life of Richard I of England, a man whose heart thundered like a lion but whose destiny was bound by the shadows of mortality. If this hooks you, hit that like button, share the saga with friends who crave epic history, and subscribe for more gripping tales that breathe life into the past. Born on September 8, 1157, in Oxford, England, Richard I emerged from the formidable shadow of his father, King Henry II, to become a figure of unparalleled charisma and martial prowess. From his earliest days, Richard displayed an insatiable hunger for leadership and warfare, a prince destined to carve his name into the annals of history. His mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine, one of the most powerful women of the medieval era, nurtured his ambition, instilling in him a sense of destiny that would propel him toward greatness. As a young prince, Richard's dreams of adventure across Europe were vivid, filled with visions of glory and conquest. Yet, when he ascended to the throne in 1189 at the age of 31, those dreams collided with the brutal realities of a fractured kingdom and a world consumed by religious fervor. The era of the Crusades defined Richard's reign, a time when Europe and the Holy Land were locked in a struggle that blended faith, power, and bloodshed. Driven by a potent mix of religious zeal and fierce ambition, Richard embarked on the Third Crusade in 1190, rallying knights and soldiers with a fire that seemed inextinguishable. His leadership was magnetic, his courage legendary. The Siege of Acre in 1191 became a testament to his martial genius, as he led his forces to a hard-fought victory against the formidable Saladin. His relentless campaign toward Jerusalem further cemented his legend as the Lionheart, a warrior king whose name struck awe in allies and fear in enemies. But every triumph came at a cost. The sands of the Levant, soaked in blood, whispered of the sacrifices required for glory, and the specter of fate loomed ever closer with each victory. As Richard's legend grew, cracks began to form in his kingdom. His prolonged absence left England vulnerable, its coffers drained by the demands of war. Whispers of treachery crept through the castle walls, as ambitious nobles, and even his own brother, John, eyed opportunities to seize power. In 1192, fate delivered a devastating blow. On his journey home from the Holy Land, Richard was betrayed and captured by Duke Leopold of Austria, a bitter rival who harbored grudges from the Crusade. The Lionheart, once a beacon of unassailable strength, was now a prisoner, his ambition shackled in chains. This was no mere captivity. It was a monumental fracture in England's identity, a king reduced to a pawn in a game of political vengeance. The news of Richard's imprisonment sent shockwaves across Europe. In England, his mother, Eleanor, became the linchpin of a desperate effort to secure his release. She rallied nobles, gathered resources, and exacted oaths of loyalty from those who had sworn fealty to her son. The ransom demanded by Leopold and his ally, Holy Roman Emperor Henry VI, was staggering, an unprecedented sum that tested the resolve of an entire nation. Every coin collected, every tax levied, was a testament to the love and loyalty Richard inspired, but also a stark reminder of the fragility of power. The kingdom strained under the weight of his absence, its people caught between hope and despair as they awaited their king's return. Richard's time in captivity was not merely a physical ordeal, it was a crucible that forged a darker understanding of power. Behind the stone walls of Dürnstein Castle, he reflected on the fickleness of loyalty and the shifting sands of alliances. The men who had once commanded legions now faced the stark reality of betrayal, as allies wavered and enemies gloated. Yet, even in chains, Richard's spirit remained unbroken. He composed poetry, a testament to his resilience, and strategized for the day he would reclaim his throne. His captivity, lasting over a year, was a haunting interlude that revealed the paradox of his existence. A king of unmatched valor, yet a man vulnerable to the whims of fate. In 1194, after months of negotiations and an exhausting ransom effort, Richard was released. His return to England was both triumphant and fraught with disillusionment. Crowds flocked to celebrate the Lionheart, their cheers echoing through the streets. But beneath the jubilant facade, a simmering discontent brewed among the nobles. Richard's absence had emboldened rivals, and his brother John had sown seeds of rebellion, exploiting the power vacuum to advance his own ambitions. The court Richard returned to was a viper's nest, thick with rivalry and suspicion. Every parley in the grand halls became a game of survival, where long-standing loyalties were tested, and the facade of fealty began to crack. The taste of power, Richard learned, was all-consuming, and a perceived slight could ignite desperate measures. Despite the treacherous landscape, Richard resolved to restore stability to his kingdom. He wielded both sword and diplomacy, launching campaigns to quell rebellion and reassert his authority. Yet, the scars of captivity ran deep, and the ideals of chivalry that had once defined him felt increasingly distant. The relentless pressures of leadership weighed heavily, and the specter of mortality loomed ever closer. Richard's health, battered by years of warfare and the privations of imprisonment, began to falter. The wounds of battles past, both physical and psychological, reopened in a different sense, as the kingdom itself seemed to mirror his own fragility. In 1199, during a minor siege at the French castle of Calais, fate dealt its final, cruel hand. A stray crossbow bolt struck Richard in the shoulder, a wound that for a lesser man might have been survivable. But for the Lionheart, it proved fatal. The wound festered, bringing fever and delirium. As he lay dying, Richard's mind wandered through a vivid tapestry of his life. The triumphs at Acre, the desperate struggles for Jerusalem, the betrayals endured, and the haunting faces of allies turned foes. Surrounded by the loyal few who remained at his side, he grappled with the fear of the unknown. The grand ideals of nobility and chivalry that had driven him now felt like a cruel mockery, distant echoes of a power he could no longer wield. On April 6, 1199, Richard breathed his last in the quiet agony of a castle chamber. His death was not the glorious end of a warrior, but a grim testament to mortality's indifference. The news reverberated across England, plunging the kingdom into mourning. The Lionheart, once celebrated as a paragon of strength, had succumbed not to the sword but to the slow, unyielding hand of fate. His passing left a power vacuum, thrusting his brother John onto the throne. John's reign, marked by cruelty and mismanagement, stood in stark contrast to Richard's valor, igniting dissent among nobles and haunting the realm with the Lionheart's absence. Yet, Richard's story did not end with his death. Minstrels and historians wove his deeds into legendary narratives, transforming him into a mythic figure of near-divine heroism. His victories were exaggerated, his flaws glossed over, as he became a symbol of chivalric ideals. But beneath the romanticism lay a cautionary tale of ambition spiraling into self-destruction. Richard's life became a mirror reflecting the paradox of kingship, the pursuit of glory shadowed by betrayal and mortality. The common people saw in him a reflection of their own struggles, a man who traversed great distances and fought formidable foes, only to fall to a single, seemingly minor injury. In a world defined by survival, they recognized that mortality was the great leveler, sparing neither king nor commoner. As centuries passed, Richard's legacy evolved into a touchstone for future monarchs, embodying both aspirations and warnings. His story prompted an evolving understanding of kingship, shifting from absolute power toward a shared governance with the nobility. His remains at Fontevraud Abbey became a pilgrimage site, a relic of hubris entwined with loyalty, power, and mortality's cold hand. In modern scholarship, Richard remains a figure of leadership, ambition, and human frailty, his life a masterclass in the transient nature of power. His narrative transcends time, capturing the inherent contradictions of the human condition. The chilling truth of Richard the Lionheart's legacy is that no king, no matter how lion-hearted, escapes fate. His journey from glory to tragedy is a poignant reminder of the human condition, where strength and vulnerability coexist, and ambition is shadowed by betrayal. His story resonates through the ages, not just as a king of battle, but as a symbol of the complexities that define us all. From the radiant heights of Acre to the grim solitude of his final hours, Richard's life is a testament to the fleeting nature of power and the enduring weight of mortality. If Richard's saga has stirred your soul, let's keep his legacy alive. Hit that like button to honor his valor. Share this epic tale with those who crave history's drama, and subscribe for more journeys into the heart of the past. Let's celebrate the Lionheart's roar, a reminder that even in our triumphs, we are all bound by the quiet embrace of the grave. Together, we can inspire each other to face our own battles with courage and resilience.